Today we're gonna make a couple of recipes from my 21 Days of Renewal cleanse. It's a great way of bringing in nutrient-dense food and eliminating all the processed foods and all the inflammatory foods. If this is something that you're interested in, keep watching. So we begin with 1.5 cups of coconut milk. And what I love about this is that this is healthy fat, and it's something that is going to keep your blood sugar balanced, especially with the blueberries that are low glycemic, meaning that they will not raise your blood sugar the way that other fruit does. So 1.5 cups of coconut milk. You could also use almond milk if you want. We take our chia seeds, 1/4 of a cup, mix them in. Now chia seeds will take on about 8 to 10 times their weight in fluid, meaning that this is a great food to eat, a great seed that is so good for people who have constipation. You just need to make sure that you hydrate them well, that they absorb and they have time to absorb all the liquid. You will see that by the time this is done, this is not going to be liquid like this. It's going to be more like a pudding. My recipe calls for lemons. I don't have lemon right now, but I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla. So here's my pure organic vanilla extract. Whoops, that's a little bit too much. So I'm just going to use about a teaspoon. And that gives it that nice kind of brownish color. I have my blueberries here, 1 pint, 2 cups. I washed them, they're fresh. And all I have to do is make sure that this sits overnight. So what I will do is I'm going to put it into this handy little jar that has a lid on it. I love these little containers because you can put them in the fridge and they'll be ready to go. I want you to see how delicious this chia blueberry parfait is. Now all we have to do is add a few nuts on top, and we have protein, fiber, and healthy fat in this delicious dessert. Now let's give this a try. This is perfect. You could add a little bit of maple syrup or honey, and it's still delicious. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Well, the soup is a super easy summer soup. That's what it's called. It's part of my 21 Days of Renewal cleanse. And I will put the recipe in the description. All it has is vegetable broth. I'm going to use chicken broth today because I didn't have vegetable. Rotisserie chicken. I'm going to use some leftover baked chicken that I had. And this is the beauty of following these recipes. They're very loose and very easy to make. Chipotle seasoning, avocados, summer, and zucchini squash, some lime, and I'm going to add some beans. So come along, let's go. I'm going to use the chicken stock from Costco. I really love this because it has no sugar in it. So I'm going to take you to the stove now. We will start with 1 quart of broth. I may have to add a little bit more depending on how much chicken there is, but usually what you want to do is use about 1 pound or 1.5 pounds of chicken meat in this. So I'm going to let it heat through, and when it's heated through, I'm going to add the chicken. And remember, it's rotisserie chicken or leftover chicken, so it's already cooked. Now we have a summer squash and a zucchini squash, and all I'm going to do is cut this up. Very easy We take the edges off, and then we're going to cut this into half moons. And the way I do this is by cutting it in half and then half again. I love this soup because it's so easy to make, and it requires basically no cooking, very little cooking. And so it's one of those meals that you can put together in 20 minutes or so, yet it's so nutrient dense. It has the zucchini, we're gonna add cilantro, and I'm also gonna add black beans. Feel free to add some red peppers if you want. This is kind of like a Mexican chicken soup with vegetables. Very delicious, very nutritious, and very easy to make. When it comes to nutrient density, you just want to look for food that is closest to nature. So while the broth is heating up, we're just going to add the chicken, then we're going to add the zucchini and other veggies that you want to experiment with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some black beans. And I buy my black beans organic, canned, but you can make them yourself if you want in the Instant Pot. Just soak your beans overnight, drain the water, and heat them in them or cook them for about, I would say, 30 to 45 minutes in the Instant Pot, and they'll be ready to go with a little bit of salt. I like this brand because it's non-GMO, gluten-free, BPA and BPS free. That means it's phthalate free, but it also has something called kombu seaweed instead of salt. And kombu seaweed is really good for your gut. It helps you digest food better. So it's worth paying a little bit more for a can of beans with kombu seaweed, because you know that is, not only does it come in a can that is not harmful to you, but it also has the seaweed that we hardly ever get. From seaweed we get iodine, and iodine is a basic trace mineral that we hardly get unless we're eating seafood. Okay, so our zucchini and our yellow squash are done. I'm going to use chipotle, smoked red jalapeno seasoning, and I'm just going to use 1 teaspoon of this into the 4 quarts of broth in the chicken. So I'll take you over there and show you what that looks like. Our broth is boiling. As you can see, I just turned it down. I'm going to add the chicken. Now my chicken was baked chicken, and it had a little bit of seasoning on it, and there were chicken tenders, so they're completely cooked. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of jalapeno seasoning or chipotle seasoning for spice, and a little bit of salt. I'm using Celtic salt. I prefer Celtic salt because it comes from the ocean and it has trace minerals in it. I don't like iodized salt. Iodized salt has iodine added to it, and that's a synthetic iodine, which is not the best for human health. So I prefer to use sea salt. I'm going to give this a stir, and then we're going to heat this up for just 10 minutes. And I would turn the heat down to like medium-low and let it heat for 10 minutes. While the soup is heating up with the chicken, I'm going to cut up my avocado. We're almost done. We're almost done. This is going to be used as a topping to add a little bit of healthy fat to our meal. So notice that in this meal we have protein, fiber, and healthy fats. That's always my aim for every single meal, is to make sure that every meal has protein, fiber, and healthy fats. Here we have our avocado to top our soup, and now the timer has gone off. We're gonna go to the stove now. Okay, I'm turning my timer off. We are adding the zucchini. This is just gonna take 5 minutes. We'll cook for 5 minutes, and I'm gonna add 1 can of black beans. And we'll let this cook for another 5 minutes. In the meantime, I'm gonna chop my cilantro, get my lime wedges ready, and this may need a little bit more broth. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Okay, so it's been 5 minutes. I added 1 cup of water, and it's already boiling. It's looking delicious. And all we do now is we top it with avocado, a little bit of cilantro, and a lime wedge for garnish. Here's our delicious soup. We're gonna top it with some avocado, a bit of cilantro, which I love. And add a couple of servings of that. Some green onions, lemon wedge, a little bit of lemon on top, some green onions. This is the finished product. Let's see what it tastes like. Remember, this recipe is from my 21 Days of Renewal Spring Cleanse. This is a summer cleanse, actually, and you can have it. I'm gonna give it to you in the description. And let's see how it is. It's probably very, very hot. Oh boy, so good. So good. If you don't like spicy things, you may want to cut back on the chipotle. I love spicy things, and the avocado makes it so yummy. If you enjoyed this, let me know in the comments, and I will provide a lot more recipes for you. Have a good one. I'll see you in the next video. You may want to check out this video on batch cooking.